Right, here we go again. This one's going to make your blood boil and piss you the F off. Yeah, why? Oh, here we go. Cop presses gun to an innocent black man's head in a botched arrest. Yeah, and this is coming from Baltimore. We all know another city with dirty, corrupt, tyrant cops. This is a pretty lengthy video, and it's going to get more lengthier. It's probably going to run 20 minutes because I'll probably stop and give my opinions as well, too. Here we go.
Baltimore cop decides to put his gun to the head of a man after a mix-up. Here it is. Put him in cuffs. What I do? I gotta put him in cuffs. Hold on, I can't breathe. Yo, right here, right there. Yo, reach back over the shoe. Just put in my pocket. You won't reach. Do not reach. Put something in my pocket. You put something in my pocket. You put something in my pocket. You put something in my pocket. Turn around. You put something in my pocket. Turn around. You put something in my pocket. You put something in my pocket. You put something in my pocket. I got it. I have more video. This case actually went into an investigative phase. The defense attorney, or the attorney for the alleged victim there, says, first of all, the stop was improper. There was no probable cause.
And they got the wrong guy.
Any type of arrest.
They had the wrong guy.
So there's a lot of confusion by the individual who is being accosted and physically assaulted by the police. With millions watching. There's more. Here it is. Hold on 1 second. Come here. From what side? I'm clearing everybody out of here. Yes, sir. Yo, he just put a whole thing in my pocket, bro. It's on camera. Bro, it's on camera. You put it out of my pocket. Put up the picture full mass. I'm going to explain and try to clarify some of the chaos you see. The Baltimore State's Attorney Office, they decided on September 5th that they will not pursue criminal charges against a Baltimore detective who pressed his gun against the temple of a black man who was lying on the sidewalk and held down by other officers during an arrest. This arrest took place in May. Defense attorneys for Mr. Jamin Joyner, the 23-year-old man you see being arrested there. The attorney accused the police of using excessive force on Joyner and for stopping him without probable cause. Charges against Joyner were completely dropped. But the police officer's conduct is reportedly still under investigation by the local police department. Now, a video of the incident, which took place on May 23rd, captured by a body-worn police camera and first aired by WBAL TV News in July, showed a group of 5 cops. You got 5 police officers arriving at the scene in front of a corner bodega. This is in East Baltimore. The detective is Connor Johnson. Detective Johnson is the one who tried to restrain Joyner and place him in custody. The officers were responding to a robbery. It was a robbery in the area, and according to them, they were searching for a suspect described as a 6-foot black male wearing a brown hoodie and a ski mask.
Note that.
Joyner, who is about 5 feet 7 inches.
There you go, 5'7",
was wearing a red and black
shirt
when he was detained by the department's district action team. Reported Baltimore Magazine. DAT is an 80-person unit created in 2017 after the police department disbanded its gun trace task force, whose members have been found guilty of racketeering, robbery, exhortation charges, and who commonly stop people without reasonable suspicion or probable cause, according to the report in the magazine. So what did Baltimore PD do? They rebranded them.
Yeah.
Yes, let's just give them a new name.
Yeah, they didn't just get rid of it. They just
Keep the
rebranded,
culture.
a whole new name. Hey, we'll just
New
make
name.
we'll just make a new name.
There's more. Detective Field. You got a guy named Detective Phil Polanco. Phil Polanco told reporters in July that officers were, in fact, trying to put Joyner in handcuffs when he got away and fled on foot before being apprehended. In the video, Joyner is shown twisting away from officers and briefly running before being grabbed and held down on the sidewalk. Quote, he's reaching for something. That's what Detective Christian Agard screams. You can hear it. Quote, I ain't reaching for nothing. Joyner responds. And one of the detectives presses his knee into the chest of Joyner, who then says, quote, I can't breathe. Officers begin to search his pockets, and Joyner screams, what did you just put in my pocket? And he put something in my pocket. Johnson then put one hand on Joyner's neck, pressing his face against the sidewalk, and took out his service weapon, putting the barrel of the Glock 22 to his temple for about 6 seconds before pulling the gun away and standing up. In their arrest report, officers said they found a handgun, 8 live 22 caliber rounds, a magazine, and a powdery substance they suspected to be heroin in Joyner's possession. The public release of the video led to a demand from the Police Accountability Board. That Police Accountability Board is in Baltimore City, and they wanted Johnson to be suspended. So let's go to an exacting policy dynamic in Baltimore that was helpful, at least to a degree. They have an accountability board. Some call them a citizens review board. If you don't have one in your local city, make sure you support individuals running for city council and county commission and mayor and CEO to get one and make sure they have subpoena power. At least it provides transparency if there's no justice. Quote, I am sure nowhere in the officer training is it justifiable to point a gun at point blank range at the temple of an already subdued subject, said the board chairman of this accountability authority, Joshua Harris. Quote, mistakes like this have the potential to end lives or negatively impact them forever. He said and called for Johnson to undergo rigorous training on de-escalation and appropriate use of force and a firearm. These officers went over the top. This was unnecessary, unprovoked, and in the end, unacceptable. Tony Garcia, Joyner's defense attorney, told the Baltimore Sun, quote, they wanted to put an exclamation on their use of force, said Garcia.
They sure did.
Not only is it excessive, but they wanted to imprint a mark of fear in his mind. That is unacceptable. That cannot be allowed to happen, end quote. Joyner's defense attorneys also complained that the police officers lacked probable cause to arrest their client, who did not match the description of the suspect they sought, and further noted that the victim told police at the scene of Joyner's arrest that he was not the person who robbed him. Police Commissioner Richard Worley defended Johnson.
Saying that's not the person, you got the wrong guy.
Saying at a news conference in July, reported the Sun, saying he was out there doing his job.
Oh yeah, explaining. That's what it is. Okay. Oh, he's just doing his job. Fuck that.
The person who was the actual victim of a crime, he comes by. He's likely in a police cruiser to do positive identification on the scene. They bring him there. He said, "Hey, you know what? That's not the guy." How is it that the victim was aware that's not the guy when the guy had on the ski mask? Well, remember, the guy was 6 feet tall and had on different clothes. The cops didn't understand that, obviously. There's more. The Commissioner Worley said that he had been in a similar situation, or similar situations with an armed suspect trying to free his hands, and that, quote, you try to do whatever you can to get him in custody. You're scared. You're fighting for your life because you don't know what he's going to do. Joyner was charged with handgun possession or possessing a loaded handgun and drug possession. He spent 54 days in jail and missed reporting to a new job during that time. All of the charges were dismissed in July for further investigation by the Baltimore State's Attorney's Office. The officer's conduct in the incident was under investigation by the Baltimore police. Spokeswoman Lindsay Eldridge said at the time of the video's release in July, noting that one of the officers involved, they have already been suspended. Following the state attorney's office's decision not to charge Johnson, Baltimore Police Department will finalize its investigation of the incident for potential policy violations and recommend any administrative charges to the Administrative Charging Committee, a civilian body that reviews all police investigations that involve a member of the public. Reported The Sun. I think the family is appalled, Garcia told Baltimore Magazine. They're very disappointed that this officer will not be held accountable. And neither will the officers who saw what happened and failed to report. They do have a duty to report in Baltimore. Baltimore police are operating under a 2017 federal court order consent decree over policing practices that violated citizens' constitutional rights, including unlawful use of force by its officers. The Justice Department investigation that led to the order came in the wake of the in-custody death of Freddie Gray.
Freddie Gray.
Broken in the back of a police van in April 2015. And if you remember, the reason why that happened is because they gave him what's called a rough ride. They put him in
They drive like batshit
There's no opportunity for him to have any level of safety, and they start to hit every curve, every bump, every sharp turn in order to throw the individual around intentionally. Public defenders of Baltimore are concerned that officers in the DAT unit are resuming the kind of misconduct that the consent decree is meant to eradicate. Yeah, you changed the name, but they didn't change the culture.
No.
Public defender's office. I'm glad you all are stepping up. Anecdotally, we're seeing lots of questionable stops and what appears to be falsely generated reasons for stops, said Deborah Cass-Levy, Director of Special Litigation for the Maryland Office of the Public Defender. We're definitely seeing the old school ways showing up again. Now, I have to pause on this irony because it's a beautiful one. The Public Defender's Office is not truly an adversarial office to the prosecutor. They basically work for the same government. Prosecutor's office, very well funded, budget galore. Public Defender's Office, they have a higher caseload. They have to fight for the little money they have. They don't get to pay for witnesses, expert testimony, etc. Prosecution does. You rarely hear the head public defender or a special public defender coming out to talk against the very city she works for. Big ups.
That speaks volumes.
Last year, Garrison Project, an investigative journalism organization, reported that an analysis of information by the Maryland Public Defender's Office about the police district action team found that its 79 officers
79
have been investigated more than 700
times.
Including 410 investigations for the use of force, 257 internal affairs investigations. DAT's officers have also faced 21 civilian review board investigations, 9 civil lawsuits, constantly defunding the police. The date on the investigations is not indicative of impropriety, said Eldridge, the police department's public affairs officer, due to their role and enforcement function. We understand that our DATs are subject to a greater number of complaints in the execution of their duties, from traffic stops, executing warrants, identifying individuals responsible for drug trafficking and violence. These teams focus on many high-level offenses that can produce dangerous interactions, she said. The implementation of reforms by the Baltimore Police Department ordered in the consent decree was only about 5% complete as of January, said Worley. And by the way, usually specialized units that are doing it right and they're going after the big fish, they don't have that number of complaints. Those are street complaints. Okay? This is a group jumping out acting like gangsters rather than cops. Because if you're a part of a specialized investigative unit, you utilize your leverage, your expertise, investigative prowess, and you don't have these kind of street complaints every single day. Dear brother, thoughts?
Yeah, let's talk about this case, and then let's talk about the basically the new gun trace task force. So
Yep.
in this case, like you lay out, doesn't fit the description. He's a few inches shorter and wearing a different outfit. Clearly doesn't know what he's dealing with here. They come aggressively. They hold a gun to his head. It looks like, and he claims, they planted something on him. There's a problem with the tactics here in all of that. You see a young black man on
Yep.
the sidewalk and think, that's the guy. That is quintessential racial profiling.
Oh, yeah.
So then, beyond that, the tactics question. So this district action team, as you lay out, seems just like a total.
Or it's just like you got cops out to go out there profile somebody because, oh, they got blue jeans on, or they got a hoodie on, or they're walking around a wrong neighborhood, or they seem suspicious, or they probably could have drugs on them or contraband. I mean, it's just really, really crappy profiling as well too. I mean, I talked to some of my coworkers, and I was talking to a couple of them, and I said, I remember 30 years ago when I was going to high school, the one thing you used to fear more than anything was gangs. The Crips and the Bloods, like that. Back in the day, you didn't fear the police. You didn't. I told him, man, back in the day, you didn't want to mix it up with a gangbanger, because he might pull a gun and put a strap of heater on you and shoot you, because if you look at him funny, or or if you walk in there, they're so cool, hood, and they're set. If you walk in, they're trying to pull a gun and demand that you get all the money, or you're giving your chain, your watch. Today, in this many groups, like, you know what, Seaman? I fear the police more than I feel gangs. Yeah, because at least gangs ain't gonna pull a gun on you and pull it on your head, and itch and trigger, pull the trigger, or they're gonna body slam you to the ground like what police do nowadays, because you didn't stroke the ego. It's like the old saying, like I said the last video. Kiss the ring and lick the boots, or you're off the team. And how many videos have we seen cops trumped up stupid charges, especially with resisting? It's just, you see it over and over and over again. And many of my co-workers agree with me. They said, man, I fear the police more than I feel on gangbanger. I could walk down the street and go up to say, what's up, bro? What's up, dog? I see a cop, I'm fucking making a beeline, hanging behind the bush. I say, I don't blame you, bro. I don't blame you.
Totally rebranded gun trace task force, and you see the department and officials covering for them, for the tactics, for the complaints. Oh, well, it's just due to the nature of the work. No, the nature of the work in the gun trace task force was planting drugs on people, assaulting people,
fabricating charges,
robbing drug dealers, dealing drugs themselves, stealing from people, potential suspects, searching homes and just hoarding whatever they found for themselves, stuffing cash behind their bulletproof
Oh yeah,
vests.
jewelry,
substantial
assets.
There are two good ones. The police department themselves were not.
I mean, they go to somebody's house, they take all the money. They're like, oh, this is a nice watch. Oh, look at this ring. They pocket that shit, and he'd be like, hey, where's all that? What are you talking about? They try like, or it's like one time I watched Married Children. Jefferson and Al and the Chrome Dome buddies are having a illegal poker game, and Al's like, "Hey, you're taking your money? What money?" That's how it is. They're so crooked. They'll take anything valuable. Hell, the cops probably walk in your house with a ray and walk off your television set, or they'll probably bootleg and hobnob your stereo. That's how crazy it is.
Capable.
And they'll try to jack and pocket your phone.
Accountable. It wasn't until the federal government and the DOJ got involved, and this dissent decree, or the consent decree, which they're complaining about, seems like, and they're upset by, which calls for new tactics, calls for a new system, new behaviors. It seems like they're just trying to exploit a loophole.
Oh, they do, yeah, but will the end result the same?
Having the same tactics.
Yeah, new name, new brand.
No,
Nope,
how
same
bad
result.
Baltimore cops are, how corrupt and crooked Baltimore cops
Oh
are.
yeah,
They're
they've been
familiar
corrupt
with
for the
them.
last couple decades.
And they try to avoid them at all costs.
Just like
And
NYPD,
this isn't a
Chicago,
new
LAPD.
phenomenon.
Even
This comes
Seattle's
back
coming up there.
decades.
Miami's pretty dirty
even
too.
longer
Notorious
from what
with
I
fucked up
understand.
cops.
So the corruption and the crookedness in the Baltimore Police Department, unfortunately, still persists just under a new name.
Yeah.
This is that case of culture eating policy alive every single day. They got the right policy. The rules are right on the books. They don't enforce them. The culture is incorrect. And the irony on top of that is this reality. They are defunding the police to a degree higher than any other unit in their police force. And because they utilize these tactics that are illegal, they can't make charges stick anyway if somebody has a halfway decent attorney.
Yeah. You know, it's like this. You know how bad some police departments are? You know, they're always doing commercials or promo ads or, hey, if you come sign with us, we'll give you a $25,000 bonus, sign-on bonus. And they're so desperate, they're hiring dirty cops that got fired from other police forces. It's crazy. That's how desperate these are. Because they can't hire good cops like that. They can't run around because they have such dirty reputation. They have no choice but to hire. And these are cops that get hired on the force. They should never be a police officer ever again. We got points on these dirty basuda fucks. It's another case of having fuck the cops say, fuck the police. Yep, with that said, I'm on here, much up. Peace out.